Hello, 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 and welcome to Border with Rudy Mireles. That is me. I am Rudy. It is Monday, February 17th. Thank you to all of you joining me on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, live right now. And those of you listening to the audio version on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, wherever you're listening, however you're listening, thanks so much for joining me. Lots to talk about today, playing catch up. It's been a busy few weeks for me on the business side of things, so been taking care of that, but we are back, and we're going to talk about the potential impact that the tariffs that are potentially less than 3 weeks away would have on our housing market and the valley as a whole. And we're also going to talk about Starbase being one step closer to becoming a city as SpaceX looks to take more control over that land they work on out there. But first, real quick, Border to Border Live is brought to you, as always, by Gelman Vision. From LASIK to cataracts, board-certified corneal specialist Dr. Rachel Gelman will help you change the way that you see the world. Call 956-302-1015 or visit gelmanvision.com to schedule a consultation today. And also, are you looking to buy or sell property in the valley? Well, at Rio Realty, we bring local experience and personalized service to every deal. Let me help you find your dream home or get the most out of your home's value. You can give me a call today, Rudy Mireles, Rio Realty, 956-230-7733, or visit rudymireles.com to get a hold of me. So if you've been following SpaceX's activities here in South Texas, you know there's always something happening at Starbase, that massive launch facility near Boca Chica Beach there. But right now there's a new development that could really change the landscape, and not just for rocket launches, but for the entire Cameron County, Rio Grande Valley region. SpaceX is moving forward with efforts to officially incorporate the area into its own city, as we've all been calling it their facilities rather, calling it the last couple years, Starbase, Texas, the city of Starbase, Texas. So today we're going to dive into what this means, why it's happening, and what it could mean for the valley and beyond. So, starting back in December, you may remember, SpaceX officially submitted a petition to Cameron County officials to incorporate the area around its Boca Chica facility into an official municipality called Starbase. Now, according to state law, the county judge, in this case, Eddie Trevino Jr., is required to review those petitions and schedule an election if all of the legal requirements are met. Now, after reviewing the signatures and the details of the petition, County Judge Eddie Trevino Jr. approved the request, setting an election date for May 3rd of 2025. Now, that petition included over 70 signatures, primarily from people who work for or are affiliated with SpaceX and are living out there already. Only the folks that live in that area can vote on it. But as we were saying, the proposed boundaries of Starbase would cover approximately just shy of 1.45 miles, encompassing much of the land that SpaceX has acquired over the past several years. It's been a little over a decade now. If the vote passes, Starbase will become Cameron County's first new city since Los Indios was incorporated in 1995. So what would it look like? Starbase would function as a city. They would have their own local government, and the petition actually proposes that SpaceX security manager Gunnar Milburn serve as the city's first mayor. Again, that's the SpaceX security manager Gunnar Milburn. Would serve as the city's first mayor. While specific plans for city infrastructure haven't been fully outlined yet, this does suggest that SpaceX basically just wants more control over local governance, basically getting ways to expedite permits for themselves, zoning approvals, and infrastructure development out there, roads, whatever it may be. They don't want to have to wait for others in the process to kind of move it along, as we all know. Not saying it's wrong or right, bad or good, but as we know, government can take some time to do things. So they kind of want to take control of their own little mini government out there to do that. Now, this incorporation would also provide a way for SpaceX to develop amenities, as I just said, for employees and residents without having to rely on county or state bureaucracy. That could mean roads, housing, and services tailored to the workforce out there that supports SpaceX's Starship program. So local reactions and concerns. We've been talking about it for years since SpaceX said they wanted to come here. And with any major development, there are mixed reactions. SpaceX supporters see this as, kind of just the natural evolution of everything that's been happening out there in South Cameron County. with the company, bringing more jobs, investment into South Texas. We've already seen the benefit of that aspect of it from that facet of SpaceX being here. We've had an influx of engineers, scientists, contractors stimulating the local economy. But there are, as always, concerns, particularly from environmental groups and longtime residents. Boca Chica Beach, which is right next to Starbase, is a protected area out there that kind of serves as a habitat for some endangered species like the Kemp's Ridley sea turtle. Sea turtle Link's out there doing good work every day, and we talked about that before, how SpaceX helps Sea Turtle Link sometimes when they need help with their rescue operations and keeping sea turtles healthy, safe, and alive. But other environmental organizations worry that increased development and expanded launch activities could further impact local wildlife. Now, there are also questions about public access, right? Who right now, currently, SpaceX can request temporary beach closures for launches, other work they're doing out there, shutting down the roads. But those requests go through Cameron County, and they'll still go through Cameron County. So if Starbase were to incorporate as a city, would the new government have more say in how that area is managed? Well, Cameron County has already clarified that even if Starbase becomes an official city, that authority to close public beaches and the road, the State Highway 4 out there, that's all going to stay with the county, not the new city. So that's one aspect that's staying the same. The bigger picture, Starbase and the future of SpaceX. So it's not just another city, right? It's not just like another city popping up out of nowhere. This is kind of part of Elon Musk's broader vision. SpaceX has long kind of positioned Boca Chica as its launch site for the fully reusable Starship rocket. Whether that becomes a reality or not is still left to be seen. But that rocket is designed for missions to the moon, Mars, and beyond. So that would be huge if those rockets actually, were launching out of here on a recurring basis. And as we've talked about, they've already gotten approval for up to 25 launches a year because they want to start launching on a more consistent and frequent basis. But incorporating Starbase could be a strategic move to kind of further solidify SpaceX's control over their operations down there in Boca Chica Beach area and prepare for future expansion, which could mean they are planning to stay here. So meanwhile, those test flights are going to continue out there at the facility, and they're preparing for the 8th major flight of the Starship. They've been doing some booster testing out there. And these test flights are kind of crucial for refining the vehicle's design. So we'll see what that next one brings. Now, as for what's next with this, the election is scheduled, as I said at the top, for May 3rd of this year. The fate of Starbase as an incorporated city rests in the hands of solely of the registered voters who live within the new proposed boundaries of that city of Starbase. So, again, if you don't live in that area, you can't vote on it. For those of folks saying that the county judge should say no, he doesn't have that option under state law. So it's just a process that we have to wait, and ultimately we can just assume that it's going to pass. For now, again, early voting is going to start in April, late April. So if the new measure passes, we could see Texas's newest city come to life, fully controlled essentially by Elon Musk. So for now, all eyes are out there on Boca Chica. Like I said, whether you see this as a visionary step forward or a controversial move, one thing's pretty clear: SpaceX is not leaving, at least now, and they're kind of reshaping everything that's going on here in South Texas. So I'll keep you updated on the latest developments, and stay tuned for more on that. This is, if you have thoughts on it, let me know too. Tell me in the comments, send me an email, rudymedelis.com. You can get a hold of me through there. This is a conversation that affects everyone, not just here in the Rio Grande Valley, but beyond, to the state, the region, everything. A lot of folks have a lot of stake in this project, so we'll keep you updated on that. Now to dive into that other topic I want to talk about that could seriously affect the local economy. For sure, we'll talk about the housing market aspect of it, and that is tariffs on things from Mexico and Canada. Just talking about my website, rudymedelis.com. Well, on my real estate blog, I actually posted a story about this. Let me pull that up for you, for those of you watching the visual version of this. For those of you listening, you can get this on rudymedelis.com. I have a whole blog that I posted: potential tariffs on Mexico and Canada, implications for new home construction in the Rio Grande Valley. So I know it sounds like something that doesn't affect us here, Tariffs for those this only matters in DC on the news. They're just going back and forth. But trust me, if you're thinking about buying, selling, or even building a home here in the Valley, this is something that you need to pay attention to. So here's the deal, right? The U.S. government is considering a 25% tariff on goods from Mexico and Canada, and if that goes through, that could make new home construction a lot more expensive. And why, you're probably asking? Well, that's because we rely heavily on those two countries for building materials. Lumber from Canada used for framing homes, drywall from Mexico, essential for finishing interiors. And I've got some numbers on some of this stuff on rudymidelis.com. As you can see, softwood lumber from Canada, approximately 70% of the $8.5 billion worth of sawmill and wood products imported in 2023 came from Canada. So nearly 3/4 of it. Gypsum from Mexico. Gypsum is what they use for drywall production, significantly sourced through Mexico. Exact percentages vary, so we don't have anything on that. But you can see some good numbers, and I've got sources on there if you're interested in checking that out. Again, rudymidelis.com, Rio Grande Valley real estate blog. Another thing is steel and concrete. That's used in everything from foundations to roofing. So those are the core materials, again, lumber, drywall, and steel and concrete that go into building houses. And if those costs go up, so does the price of new homes. And here's the kicker. We've seen it already. Construction costs, home costs in general are already so high since the pandemic, but new construction costs is already high, though, too, because of supply chain disruptions, labor shortages, and inflation since the pandemic. And that's not just here. That's kind of globally, too. So if these tariffs happen, we're talking about even steeper price increases, though, here for buyers. So let's kind of bring it home to the Valley. We already have one of the most affordable housing markets in Texas. I actually talked about this in another blog post late last week. But prices have been kind of slowly creeping up over the years. They're not at the same pace as, some of the metro markets across the state and across the country, but they're still growing. And if tariffs push construction costs even higher, what could happen is that new homes obviously will cost more because builders aren't just going to absorb that extra cost. They're going to pass it to buyers. Again, one thing I do want to mention before I go any further, and I forgot to mention this at the beginning, this is not a stance on whether the tariffs are good, whether the tariffs are bad. It's not a political discussion. This is just the reality. If X happens, this will be, or most likely be, Y result. That's it. We're not talking about whether we should have them or not have them. I'm just trying to prepare you with some knowledge and information so you're better prepared if they do happen. Okay, so new homes will cost more. Builders aren't going to absorb those costs. As I said, they're just going to pass it on to buyers. That's what always happens, right? They have to make a profit too. They're not out there working for free. There's going to be more demand for resale homes, though. So if new builds get too expensive, buyers are going to turn to those existing homes, which could drive up prices there too. And what did we just talk about? About how the prices have already been creeping up slowly in the Valley. I mean, there's some houses, I was looking at houses in San Benito while I was helping them out with some work at the city the other day. There's houses that were built in 2020 in San Benito, and maybe we'll talk more about this later this week with some data points for you. But there's houses that were built in 2020. Let's call them $150,000 is what they paid for them. Brand new construction. Now in 2025, I was looking at the value. We're talking upwards of $250,000. Almost $100,000 increase in value in just 4 to 5 years for some of these homes. So a lot of folks are sitting on gold mines as it is. And now there's going to be more demand for those homes as well. That could help drive prices up as well. And there could also be a shift in market dynamics. Right now, sellers, they have the upper hand, but if home prices keep rising and mortgage rates stay high, there's that, cause and effect, right? Just because prices are rising, well, the market demand is going to lower because less buyers are going to try to move, less people are going to try to enter the market for the first time. So we could see demand overall slow down, even though those prices are already kind of locked in there at that height, or at that level rather. So for builders, this could mean stalled new construction projects. We've seen it here in the Valley before, when people run out of, concrete, for example, for their homes. I've done stories when I was working on the street as a journalist, stories on people who had driveways waiting to be finished for months. Houses stalled because house construction stalled because they couldn't get concrete, and that was just because the windmill projects out in Willacy County and Starr County and out in Cameron County. We're taking all that concrete to work there, right? This could mean even more issues, as it's kind of a different related issue. So small developers, they just could disappear altogether. Those first-time developers that do the onesies and twosies and are just kind of starting, they could disappear because they may not be able to absorb those price hikes and make a profit. So for first-time home buyers, affordability could take another hit. So again, this isn't about politics, whether it's right or wrong. I'm just trying to get you in a position that you are ready with the best information possible to plan your next move in life if these tariffs happen. So if you're listening and thinking, what do I do with this information, Rudy? Here's my take, all right? It's just my take. If you're looking to buy a home, kind of just pay attention to pricing trends. If tariffs go into effect, prices could rise even more. So locking in a deal sooner rather than later might make sense. Just pay close attention to pricing trends. I watch that stuff all the time. I put it on my blog. Again, I can't talk about the blog enough. I know it sounds like I'm just beating a dead horse here, but it's just I put all that information there, and I ask nothing of you in return, all right? So all you have to do is check it out. Get yourself informed on what you can do price-wise. I always put those pricing trends and market information in there, so check it out. If you're thinking about selling, this could actually be your window right now. I was just talking to a client the other day about how right now might be the time to get rid of some of their unbuilt properties, right? I've got 2 clients that have 3 pieces of land between the 2, and they've been kind of just sitting on the fence whether or not to sell. And this week we're actually going to sit down and kind of go over what I think they could get value-wise, because now's that kind of sweet spot, right? If you're holding on to that land, because you may not get rid of it as new home construction prices rise, less people are going to be needing that land from you. And if you're thinking about selling your home in general, more buyers may start looking at resale homes if new builds become too expensive as well. So if you're a builder or investor, you got to start strategizing now. Obviously, start running your numbers, right? What can you afford? Where can you absorb a hit if necessary? But also start looking if you can diversify your material sources. Keep an eye on supply chain shifts, things like that. That is going to be key. Like I said, 70% of that lumber comes from Canada, but that means 30% of it is coming from somewhere else, whether that be here in America or from another country that wouldn't see any tariffs coming their way. So that's something to start looking into if you're a builder. But the bottom line is the market is going to shift. So those who stay informed are going to be able to make the best decisions going forward. So again, that's another developing story that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on for you. So just make sure to stay tuned. So if those tariffs do go through, for a deeper dive again into those numbers and what it means to the Valley, you can check out my full analysis on rudymedelis.com, the RGV real estate blog. Check it out for you there. As always, I want to hear from you too. Let me know if you think these tariffs are going to actually happen. rudymedelis.com. You can get at me there somewhere. If you're listening on Spotify and YouTube, on your podcast app, you can actually just click a link at the top of the description of every episode, and you can shoot me a message. And hey, I might even read it on the show. Who knows? Let me know. As always, Border to Border is brought to you by Gelman Vision. From LASIK to cataracts, board-certified cornea specialist Dr. Rachel Gelman will help you change the way that you see the world. Call 956-302-1015 or visit gelmanvision.com today to schedule a consultation. And also, are you looking to buy or sell in the Valley? Well, at Rio Realty, we bring local experience and personalized service to every deal. Let me help you find your dream home or get the most out of your home's value. I'm about to put a slew of really cool homes, small starter homes that have plenty of potential in downtown Brownsville. I'm telling you, downtown Brownsville is one of those downtowns where this is the future. It's going to look completely different in 20 years. And if you can get in on the ground floor now, now's the time. Give me a call, 956-230-7733. That is me, Rudy Medelis. That is my number at Rio Realty, or you can visit rudymedelis.com to contact me. I will see you all next time. Until then, stay safe and be good.